Welcome to T-Smack, home of the T-Smack. May I take your order?
Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Smack, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and so much more. I am your host, Josh Scar, and the wonderful thing about Alex's is Alex's are wonderful things. The tops are made out of rubber? No.
And the bottoms are made out of spring. Bouncy, flouncy, trouncy.
Bouncy, fun. The most wonderful thing about Alex is he's not the only one. There are plenty of other Alexes, including a Game Club Pod Alex. Hi, Game Club Pod Alex. Special shout out to you today, I guess, because I was trying to do something interesting, but Tabaxi doesn't quite fit. And then I just got stuck into it. So, Alex, how are you doing?
You know, I'm coming off of a busy week. I'm enjoying the light dusting of snow outside, and I am having my expectations met, which that's really all you can expect in life. If you have, whether they're low, whether they're high, if you can just meet them, that's fantastic. And if you can exceed them, that's great. And I am currently observing that the Steelers are meeting my expectations. We are losing within the first 10 minutes of the first quarter.
Yeah, playoff football is upon us. I was watching the Texans game earlier, and they have those like little local breaks that they do for like CBS and Fox and NBC. I don't know if they do that for the streaming platforms like Netflix or Prime. I tend to zone out when they go into commercial breaks on those ones because like it's very easy to just like swipe up and then it just like goes into a little box and then you're just not paying attention while you're doing other things on your tablet or phone. But for the Paramount game, CBS game, there was a Culver's commercial, which I love that Culver's is doing commercials now because they're kind of doing the old Dave commercials from Wendy's where the never frozen, always fresh, whatever. But the thing you do with commercials, especially in the United States, is you use someone with the Midwest accent. You just use like the most common accent, the most like normal accent where everyone can understand the words that are being said. But with this one, because it's Culver's, that you're using someone from Wisconsin, and you have this very normal, very bland thing being said, and then you just hear, and the classic Butterburger with cheese with fresh Wisconsin cheese. I stopped and I had to rewind it on my DVR because I'm just like, wow, she really went for that Wisconsin.
I absolutely love that. Yeah, because I've been seeing them. So tonight's Steelers game is on Prime, not a sponsor, but should be. And when they go to the local commercials, I always get so mad because a few years back when they bought the rights to Thursday Night Football, I was like, oh, Prime, no commercials, fantastic. I'm just going to get whatever commentary, all this bullshit. And then they went to commercial. I was like, wait, I'm paying $9, $10, now like $13 a month for this crap. And I get so angry, but then I see the joyful
and an extra like $7 a month now if you want ad free.
Oh, don't. And of course, when you're like watching something that they are releasing, and it's like, oh yeah, this episode brought to you commercial free by blah 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 blah, and you see the
Here's
timer.
5 commercials at the start.
Yeah, exactly, and then you see the timer up top. And it's like, so you're using a 15-second spot to tell me that this is commercial free, but at least we get Culver's. I love the way they say the Butterburger too. It's like, you expect them to like, with that Butterburger, you expect to just see, and you do, like this big ass patty of butter thrown down around the griddle and then the burger right on top of it. It's like, there's a reason why we drink
Culver's now. There was a meme going around. I think it was during the end of last football season, the 2023-24 season, where some internet personality went to a Culver's for the first time. And they had like the most standard Culver's meal you can have. It was like a concrete shake, a deluxe butter burger with curds, and I think an extra side of fries. And they went around like, would you be able to finish this in 20 minutes? I was like, bitch, I could have that done with an extra burger and, a side of custard on top of the concrete mixer in that time frame. Please and thank you.
All right. We got to start a campaign because we did it properly. There was a campaign. It was April Fool's joke, and then they made it real of the curd burger, right? Okay. It's fantastic. It is a butter burger bun and then one giant cheese curd on top of that. They bring it back in October, and it's until supplies last, which normally is about 10 days, even though they say until the 31st of October. So you got to make more of them, but that's fine. The important part is when it comes to custard. Now, custard is a Wisconsin thing. It's not ice cream. It's something better. About 10 years ago, they changed the sizes of the custard, so you can no longer get a large that is the size of a large soda. Their large is now like the equivalent of a medium, and I'm still mad every time I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take the tall or whatever they call it, and they hand it to me. I'm like, this is like a third of the size that I'm used to. What is wrong with you people?
I'm still hungry.
I know.
I live in the American Midwest. I'm used to larger portions, please.
I know I just had 6 chicken fingers and an entire basket of cheese curds, but I'm going to eat all this custard in one go, but along with my soda. But could you kill me a little quicker, please? Bring back the largest custard.
So when you brought up the curd burger, that reminded me. Do you remember the KFC Double Down?
Yes, I do.
I remember that every time I see the Culver's curd burger get advertised, I was just like, it could be worse.
Oh, I remember how they decided to do the Double Down by giving away free sweatpants to college students to take pictures with, and Double Down was across the ass.
Oh, I don't remember that, but I wouldn't put it past them because they're trying to get their new sandwich over. But for anyone who's not familiar, please Google the KFC Double Down. But it's a KFC sandwich where there is no bun. Your bun is 2 deep fried chicken breasts in the KFC 24 herbs and spices and special breading that tastes like ass. KFC, not a sponsor, but please don't.
Hey, you're the one that said it tastes like ass, and that's why they had the sweatpants.
I don't think I've ever had KFC that hasn't ended with a disastrous trip into the bathroom.
There's one sponsorship gone, but you already said you don't want them.
Well, I mean, they can't stick around in the Rockford area. I'm pretty sure they've closed in the Rockford area like 3 times in my lifetime, and I'm almost 40. So, I mean, they have like a rolling 12.5 year period where they try to come back and then they all go bankrupt, and then they try to come back and then they join with the Long John Silver's, and then they try to build off of that, and then they get rid of the Long John Silver's because no one in the area likes seafood. And then they close down.
I'm still mad that they closed Long John Silver's because they had a lot in the city we live in. They used to have a Long John Silver's Pizza Hut, and it was fantastic because I wouldn't go for the fish. I would get the chicken. The chicken's great, especially the chicken that comes with the hush puppies and the fries. And then you order
the Long John Silver's hush puppies. When I was a kid living in Elgin, my sisters would make my parents drive to the nearest Long John Silver's, which I think was in like Schaumburg or Aurora, which is still like a 30 to 45 minute drive. Like every 2 weekends, my sisters would beg for those hush puppies.
Oh yeah. And then because it was Long John Silver's Pizza Hut, you can then order the Pizza Hut breadsticks, so as an appetizer, and it was fantastic. But that closed. It's like, okay, cool. We still have a Long John Silver's a little bit north in one of the adjoining cities, and when that one burned down, which kind of makes sense for the area, they didn't rebuild it. They just brought it back as a KFC, and I'm pretty sure that's the one that closed recently.
I'm shocked I'm still alive. Speaking of like those KFC Splitsies like Pizza Hut Splitsies restaurants, because there was a Taco Bell Pizza Hut that was near our media play where Target is and all that stuff now. Matt, our friend Jason, and we would go there probably twice a week, and I would get like 2 orders of breadsticks. So it's like 6 breadsticks, and I would just have those. How my arteries are still flowing normally, and I'm here doing this. I don't know how that happened. Like, thank God for my youthful metabolism. But we have other things we should discuss. I think people are not here to hear us talk about our like life's mistakes as children. We are going to talk about Sony's announcements for upcoming films that are maybe they're replacing the not Spider-Man Sony Spider-Man universe. Maybe it's a course correction. We'll dive into it a little bit and kind of give our look ahead into what we think these are going to be. But first and foremost, Alex, we just had this promo, but because of how we number these, we get to listen to Tim and Joey talk about certain shenanigans with two blokes from Blighty. So we'll be right back.
Yes.
Hi, I'm a bloke.
And I'm another bloke.
And we are from Blighty. My name is Joey. I'm joined by my co-host Tim.
Hi.
Where every single Wednesday we come at you through the Game Club Pod podcast feed with our show, Two Blokes from Blighty. I tried to think about the kind of topics that we talk about on Two Blokes from Blighty. Tim, what's your favourite topic that we've ever spoken about across our 3 seasons?
The fiasco of me shaving my head.
Mine is the fiasco of you shitting on a toilet seat. If those sound like things you want to hear about, join us every Wednesday by searching Game Club Pod in your podcast provider.
Just makes my life sound a little bit tragic, really, doesn't it?
Would you listen to that show, Tim?
I would.
I don't think I would.
No.
I think one thing that they're missing from that promo is that they do a weekly joke. They have a joke off where they try to make each other laugh, and whoever laughs first, the person who told the joke, gets the joke of the week. And I've got one for you, Alex. This is one I heard recently that I thought it's so stupid, but it's great. What were Elvis's favorite months?
I don't know.
February, March.
That's stupid. Okay, so I heard a really stupid joke. What do you call the soft stuff between a shark's teeth?
I don't know. What do you call the soft stuff between a shark's teeth?
Slow swimmers. It's
nice.
I don't know why, but I heard that and I just giggled, and then I thought of Jaws, and then I wanted to watch Jaws, and then I giggled more. So stupid.
Okay, I got one more. This is a long joke, but it's like my favorite joke ever, just because it's so stupid. So, A pirate walks into a bar. He has an eye patch, a hook for a hand, and a peg leg. Bartender has a sign on the door that says, "Free drinks for interesting stories." So the bartender comes by and he says, "What you be drinking?" He says, "I'll have a beer. Beer's on the house if you tell me how you lost your leg." "Yar, one day I be sitting in my dinghy and resting my feet in the ocean, and a shark came and bit me leg off." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. That's a good story. All right, here's your free beer." "Yar." A little bit later, pirate's finishing his beer. Bartender comes back, says, "Hey, I'll give you another free beer if you tell me how you lost your hand." "Yar, I be looting some plunder when all of a sudden the lid to the treasure chest snaps on me hand and me hand gets broken clean off." "Oh, crazy. I didn't know they were that heavy. Here, have a free drink." A little while later, bartender comes back, says, "Hey, tell me how you lost your eye. One last free drink for you." "Yar, I be walking along the beach when all of a sudden a seagull came out of nowhere and pooped in me eye." And he goes, "You lost your eye by a seagull pooping in it?" "Nar, it be me first day with me hook."
That's so stupid.
I love that joke just because you go, "Seagull pooped in me eye," and they go, "Oh, okay. Yeah, okay." And then you keep going with the bartender. "Dar, be me first day with me hook."
So dumb.
I just love the visual of that too. Just like, "Yar,
Yep.
me eye." It's a good visual. They should make a SpongeBob out of that one.
It is good. I really like it. It's so dumb. Almost as dumb as Sony's movie plans.
Speaking of dumb things that we enjoy, Sony and their executive team have, in their infinite wisdom, off the 2024 of all 2024s that they could have had, with the likes of Madam Web and Venom: The Last Dance and Kraven the Hunter releasing in theaters, all of them in the same year, all of them building towards nothing. Sony went, what else can we do to make money off people's goodwill? And they said, let's make some video game movies. And so during some weird tech expo, Sony went, hey, by the way, we're going to make movies too. Oh, that's not why we're here, but okay, please indulge us. So they announced that they're making an anime off of Ghost of Tsushima, which is also already being made into a movie. They announced a Helldivers movie, and they announced a Horizon Zero Dawn movie, which like both of those, or at least the Horizon Zero Dawn movie seems like a no-brainer. It's a pretty cinematic game. You can probably make a pretty streamlined movie out of it, but it's Sony. You can't trust them to do anything. And
really.
Whenever I've engaged in any conversation about this since they announced it sometime last week, everything I've been comparing it to is, why has The Last of Us succeeded where practically everything else has failed? That's not like Fallout and a few other things. Part of it is they have Neil Druckmann, who was a key creative on the game for The Last of Us, being involved in the show. And other than that, I don't know what else it is, because Sony's just like, we have the IP, we'll just build a team of people, maybe. Like, who even knows if Sony's going to employ people in this either? So what we're going to do with this conversation, this exercise, if you will, is we're going to kind of talk a little bit about, like, do we think this can be a good adaptation? If it's not a good adaptation, what do we think Sony's going to do that's going to make it bad? We're going to pitch what we think is going to happen with these movies. Like, where do you think Sony's going with this? So I have no experience with the Ghost of Tsushima. I think the anime, which is being created, I believe it's the guy who like ran the Star Wars Visions series on Disney Plus, which, like, that's the most obvious thing to come out of any of this. It's that they're what Star Wars Visions. Let's make an anime out of something. Like, all of it just screams desperation, but getting the Star Wars Visions guy to make an anime off of an adaptation just screams obvious to me. So, like, what do you think the Ghost of Tsushima anime series would be like?
Quick pivot. They're potentially working on the live action film, which I will say they have a good director in there, in that they had Chad Stahelski, who did the 4 John Wick movies. Makes sense. Rumor is that the Ghosts movie got actually pushed back planning of it because he stepped in to do a bunch of reshoots for Ballerina. Okay, cool. But there's no cast yet. The script's not written. So I'm assuming that the anime will come first. I don't get why they're just doing an anime. I mean, if anything, just take the cutscenes and just make them the damn thing. Because you can do something fun and cinematic with it. And part of what was great about Ghosts, and which I super loved playing, is that it was very reverential. So much so that the main directors and like cultural representatives that did it, because it was a US based, it was one of the Sony's US based studios. They've been declared basically cultural ambassadors because of how well they treated it, how well they represented it, how well they did the culture, that they flew there with its reverence and respect. I don't know what the plan for the anime is. I mean, it's a good story, but the problem with doing an adaptation, which is the problem the Last of Us could have faced it but didn't, is that you really don't particularly care as much seeing the story as a different medium, because you live the story as your character for so long. So could they do a Star Wars Vision type thing? Sure. Would it be like a good 1 season show? Yeah, but I'm not sure what they're going to do to make Jin more interesting, because I've already snuck through all these areas. I've already played through them all, which is why I'm not particularly excited about a movie, because, I mean, a John Wick style movie is basically just going to be, for the series is basically going to be the opposite of an anime. They're just going to cut down the story a little bit and focus on the slice and dice, where I may be sitting there going like, oh yeah, I remember that. If you hit like X square triangle really quickly, you could backstab those 3 guys. Yeah, it makes, I don't know. I'm not particularly hyped because you're going to lose the slow moments. Part of what I loved about the Ghost game was, in all games you have collectibles, right? One of my favorite ones about this was you would follow a fox to like the little fox shrines, and you would do like this meditative thing, or you would find viewpoints, and every time you found a viewpoint, they would sit down and write a haiku. But then there's also the fun part of you find all the little hot springs for him to bathe in, and my wife really enjoyed this part because it's like the only time you really saw nudity in it, because like he would like, you'd see the hot spring, you would activate it, and then it would show the hot spring, and then he would walk on camera having disrobed, and so she would just go butt because you'd see him sink in. So I don't know. You're gonna lose the slow moments, the reverence.
So my question with all of this is also, if they're doing an anime and they're also working on a live action film, are they telling the same story just in different mediums, or because that's the thing for Sony, for me, is that they are creatively bankrupt. They don't know what else to do. So unless they're just doing like the live action series is going to, or the live action movie is going to be the cutscenes, the anime is going to be the player segments or something, like, I don't know what Sony would do to make these uniquely individual and independent from each other. Just like how Seth Rogen is trying to make an Invincible live action movie. They're saying that it's going to be completely independent from the animated series, but a lot of people have been watching the animated series, and I know there's just as many people who have not watched the animated series that would watch a live action movie, but the live action movie is going to be severely condensed, like you're saying, where you have 10 episodes to tell a story in roughly like 5 to 10 hours, because I think some episodes go to like 45 minutes or an hour. I think the first episode ever of Invincible is an hour. There's some long form storytelling going on with Invincible as a series that adds on to the layers of the universe, where you're not going to get that in a live action Invincible movie unless you cut out like all the world building stuff with all the additional heroes and villains that you just create clones of Superman villains, and you just go, well, here's a less interesting version of the world because we can't flesh everything out in a 2.5 hour movie. So with Ghost of Tsushima, what are you doing when you're making, presumably you're making another HD remake, whatever, because Sony can't make a new game. It's just HD remakes at this point. You're making a live action film, you're making an anime, and you're making a sequel, which granted it's not in the same region, so there's a little leeway there, but you're playing off the known quantity of the name. So what are you doing that's going to differentiate all of these things from each other, besides the fact that two of them are based off of a video game title at the very least?
That is a great question, because even in a 10 to 12, I don't remember how long the game was. I played it forever because I'm one of those, get all the collectibles. I must get it to 100% and find every little Foxborough, every little thing. I want to hear every haiku. So even if you're talking about a 12 to 13 hour game, you're not going to do that in a movie. That's part of the reason why The Last of Us worked, because The Last of Us is about maybe 9.5 hours. And they spread that over an 8 episode season or 6 episode season. And so you got those nice, long, lingering world building paces. You were able to flesh that out. If you're trying to hack it into a 2.5 hour movie, you're losing a ton of characters, and you're losing those moments of peace, those moments between the battles, between the rest. With an anime, yeah, you can certainly do that, but video games now have the engine and the power to decide what they look like. If they wanted to look like an anime, they would look like an anime. If they wanted to look photorealistic, as so many games try these days, but they hit a stylistic choice. They hit these beats in this moment. Maybe, and I think an anime could work much better, because they could then really spend the time to choose a manga aesthetic. But you're just telling the same story, which, hey, maybe it works, maybe it allows those flashy moments. I think that the movie is probably just going to be a fun shoot 'em up, John Wick style murder revenge story, right? I think the anime would be more successful because it could lean more into the cultural aesthetic and just be more approachable for people who don't want to play a very violent game.
Makes sense to me. Given the subject matter of Ghost of Tsushima, I am intrigued into whatever they do, especially with a guy who did Star Wars Visions. Season 1 of Star Wars Visions was fantastic. I know that was different studios, but I mean, they all kind of came under this one guy's direction. It's something that at least the anime is interesting. I'm not sold on the live action just because, again, I don't trust Sony to not let their executives meddle. And as we've seen so many times already, they have no faith in general audiences to just accept certain things. So all I can see is Sony Pictures, Columbia Pictures executives being like, why aren't there more white people in this? Just letting that linger and trying to just change the story to allow white people to exist in this world, or more white people to exist in this world. And it's just going to water it down in a way that takes away from everything else that makes the story so critically and widely acclaimed amongst fans. So that's kind of, I don't know how much else we can really say without being in the room. So let's dive into the dive. I guess that's a good way to start. Let's talk Helldivers, with the announcement of a Helldivers movie being in development. This is where I kind of went, Sony's just, they're pivoting because they can't do Spider-Man anymore. Like, people have caught onto their game and they're too stupid to make their own Spider-Man movie, even though they could. And they have. I mean, the Miles Morales movies are good. They've won Academy Awards. They are well written. They're groundbreaking animation styles. But Sony's just like, well, that's lightning in a bottle. We can't recreate that. You kind of can, because it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man is his own lightning.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous that they think general audiences are so stupid. It is them who is the stupid, because this is the movie where it's a blatant ripoff, at least with Helldivers 2. I'm not so sure about Helldivers 1. I haven't seen anything from Helldivers 1. I only know about like the Helldivers 2 stuff. And with Helldivers 2, it's pretty much just a blatant ripoff of Starship Troopers. It's a satire of fascist regimes, how they manipulate the sense of patriotism and what it means to lose that sense of patriotism. And you're fighting bugs and just all this stuff that basically is just like, we didn't get the rights to Starship Troopers, so we just did our own thing that's basically Starship Troopers. And where I think this is gonna just show again how stupid and bad Sony is at their jobs. They're gonna make this just a straightforward military action flick. They're gonna get rid of the satire. They're gonna just be like, well, people don't understand the satire anyway. They just want the guns and the violence. They don't want anything like a message.
The funniest part about this to me is that Starship Troopers was made by TriStar, which is a Sony company.
Oh, good Lord.
So now, mind you, Helldivers is the game developer is not owned by Sony. They have exclusive deals with Sony. So they are...
But Sony owns the IP.
Yes, they do. So I find it really funny because I've played Helldivers 2. I thought I find it's enjoyable. They do have some connection issues now and then. A lot of it's been patched because when I was playing it, it was May, June, when they were still kind of at the peak of the just insane player count that they did not expect to be getting all these people with all the crossplay and all that crap happening. But I played, probably put maybe about 15, 20 hours into it. And I get it. It's fun. You drop in, you shoot bugs, you shoot mechs, you level up, absurdity of the ultra patriotism and the cutscenes and everything is fantastic. It is great. I saw somebody had what's his name? Casper Van Dien. Someone had Casper Van Dien who was in Starship Troopers play it, and he was Johnny Rico. And he even came back for, I think, one or two of the sequels, like the direct-to-video ones. He really
I remember there was one that they made a really big deal, like, in the return of Johnny Rico.
Yeah, Starship Troopers 3 Marauder. He also did, I think, the voice work on, like, one or two of the anime, not anime, the cartoon videos, whatever. So he's into it, and he watched the video, and he played the game, and he's like, "That's from that's from Starship. That's from." So it's true, but I think you are 100% right. Paul Verhoeven, who directed the movie, Starship Troopers movie, knew how to do satire. If you watch RoboCop 1 and don't realize that that was supposed to be a satire, you've missed the point. It's fact, it may even be prescient to shit that's happening today where
it is omnipresent.
Yes. You weren't supposed to be rooting necessarily for RoboCop. You were supposed to be rooting for RoboCop fighting against the ideals that they were trying to force onto him, and especially the insanity that they were doing to that city. Paul Verhoeven also did Total Recall, which is in its own way another parody of the action flick of the guy who goes to another place and takes over everything. And Starship Troopers is a massive parody. Want to know more? It's Afraid. I mean, the end of that movie has Johnny Rico training like 6th graders to keep fighting the war. That's what Helldivers is supposed to be. I don't believe that they're going to do it, because the point of the video game with its satire is you don't remove your helmet. You are just the customization is you can have a few skin, like a few color shades on your armor and the capes, and of course your big ass guns. You get to customize those. But do you really think they're gonna do something smart and actually not cast the hottest flavor of the month who will immediately remove their helmet anytime that they're not in battle? No, they're going to look at Judge Dredd, the Carl Urban one, where he didn't remove the mask, which is a fantastic damn movie. And you have Carl Urban as Judge Dredd, and he never takes it off because he's not supposed to. They're going to look at the Mandalorian and be like, well, Mandalorian takes his helmet off every season or two, so it's fine to do it. They're going to do what they did to Master Chief, which is, I think, first episode, 1 minute in, Master Chief walks around without his helmet, and you're like, that ruins the point of me being the character.
The Halo show might be the best comparison for what this movie very well could be. It's just going to be a boring military try-hard, might be the best way to put it. It's not going to be an epic. It's going to try and tell a story that's something akin to what the game tells us, but they're going to just completely glaze over the satire of the whole situation. I'm not going to say it will, but it could also go in the complete opposite direction where they don't understand the satire and they get the humor wrong anyway. But I think it's going to be more where they're going to play it vanilla, and they're not going to because of things happening in the world, we're going to stay away from the F word, and we're going to stay away from oppressive regimes and stuff like that, and we're just going to make it about a ragtag group of military people who are stuck on. They're going to do the Monster Hunter movie. Essentially, they're just going to do something generic that has the name, that'll get a big opening weekend, and then no one will talk about it until it's in a $5 bin, and then there's going to be exposés and people complaining about it. And I'm sure there will be people complaining about it because they'll cast one woman of color to be in the movie as well.
That's the thing about that's what I love about the game, is that it doesn't matter who the hell you are. Your customization is voice A or voice A or voice B. That's really it. That's it's the deconstruction of the avatar. What voice do you want your character to sound like when they die? That's really it. They could do something fascinating with it, and if they let a strong comedy director, not slapstick, but a strong comedy director who understands to play it as straight as possible, bring back the what is it, the Zuckers who did Airplane from the 80s, that type of just completely Files of the Police Squad, play it as straight as possible and let the absurdity
deadpan.
Yes, and let the absurdity of the moment be the humor, because that is very much like what Paul Verhoeven would do. It'd be so over the top. It'd be just so over the top what is happening that you realize it's satire later on. You're enjoying the moment. Everyone enjoyed Rico, being I'm in charge until I'm dead, or you find somebody better, that kind of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And it lingers.
I just don't see Sony taking a risk, which it's a video game movie, it's a video game adaptation. So there's an inherent risk because, as we just talked about, you're adapting a long form storytelling medium into a 2 hour epic of some kind, assuming it's going to be even 2 hours. Like, God knows if they're going to butcher all these things down to like 90-minute nonsense like they did with like all of the Venom movies and Madam Web and whatnot.
They're going to like every 5 minutes they're going to be on a new planet, or they're going to have blown the budget so spectacularly it's going to be like Pitch Black in space. Which, hey, I mean, Pitch Black is in space, but you know what I mean. That instead of like this, like, oh, we have this multi system war happening across all these planets, drop in soldier thing happening, that they're gonna be like, oh, yeah, we're already at like 130 with pre-production. One planet. We're going to have it just be one planet where all this crap's happening at once. It's the one important planet that everybody's fighting on at once, which if done right could be great satire.
You know who I just thought of could do who I think could do a pretty good job is Justin Lin. I know him better as the guy who directed Star Trek Beyond, which arguably the best modern Star Trek movie.
Not arguably, it is the best Star Trek movie.
I mean, he has kind of fallen into a niche with the Fast and Furious movies, but before falling into that niche, he was a good up and coming director. So Justin Lin, he directed some episodes of Community. He directed Fast 5, 6, Star Trek Beyond, Magnum PI, Fast 9, and a TV series called The Endgame. Whatever he was on for Star Trek Beyond, I think he could do a pretty decent Helldivers movie that Sony probably wants them to make.
Yeah.
Where there's not a huge message, there's not a lot of satire, but it's fun. Because Star Trek Beyond is very good. It is a very well-made movie where every scene matters and every scene serves a purpose. Whereas you get a lot of fluff and all the other stuff he's done. But who the hell knows? Like that's all we can really do. But I think Justin Lin is a guy who could make the movie enjoyable at the very least through his direction.
I might lead like someone like David Towie. He is the person who did the Riddick movies because he can bring. I mean,
we really just want people who have worked with Vin Diesel, I guess.
Apparently, but he can build an epic landscape off of a really, really no budget. Like, I know the Chronicles of Riddick did not really earn its money back, but it looked great for being $100 million movie, and he got fun performances out of Keith David and Judi Dench and Carl Urban to bring back Carl Urban again. Could be fun. He might be able to hit that. Like, we know this is absurd, but we're going to be so deadpan. One of my favorite absolute lines of the Chronicles of Riddick is Judi Dench. Like, I forget what she's supposed to be. She's like some kind of spirit elemental, and she's in a drop ship, and they try to like dump her out of it, and she kind of like floats across the little gap. The guy goes like, you guys don't fly. And she says, no, but we can float. It is such a stupid line, but it's so said with sincerity, It could be fun where it's just like, this is absurd. They're playing this so straight, they don't realize they're in a satire. But it's not going to go well. I'll be happy if it does.
Who would you cast to star in this? Or who do you think Sony would eye to star in a military war epic that is based on a satire, but they will not make it a satire?
Ooh. Honestly.
Or you know what?
I think
what the satire would be? Is the satire would be that the military doesn't allow women and they finally let in their first woman soldier. That would be like the main conflict of the movie.
Oh,
and then the other soldiers accept the woman and she's like earned her stripes. And like that's the conflict of the movie is more internal, and the war just happens to be the thing that brings them together.
Oh, they're going to try something like that. They don't have the guts to just do it straight, to just seriously just maybe
they really don't.
15, 20, maybe like 30 minutes at the beginning of the war that shows you over top of the world. like Starship Troopers. And then everybody just has on the battle suits and that's it. But they're probably gonna go with somebody like Zendaya or Rebecca Ferguson. Maybe they try to like, oh, this is gonna be so good. They go after like Florence Pugh to get her, to get that Oscar kind of touch. They're gonna go with somebody if they do the angle of the whole like, oh, it's the first female combatant in war, and then of course they'll do some kind of reverencing and they'll have Demi Moore as like the senator pushing it forward or something like that because of the G.I. Jane connection.
Yeah, I can see them pushing for like Sydney Sweeney since they have that relationship built up from Madam Web and was it Anyone But You? Yeah, so I could see them going after like Sydney Sweeney again just because they have that relationship. I think for a lead actor, it seems like something now that we've put it into the ether that we just need to say Vin Diesel.
Yes. Vin Diesel will be there, and do you think they do?
Oh, you know they would try and get The Rock first.
Yes.
They just wouldn't let Vin know.
No. They would get The Rock first.
Because they have a relationship with him through Jumanji.
Oh, that's right. You know what I would absolutely love? Because I just want to see Justin Henson just be forced to watch another movie. It'd be great if Glenn Powell was in it.
Glenn Powell would be another one, yeah.
Glenn Powell would be the guy.
And that's how they would market it to women is the Anyone But You reunion.
Yes. I'm sold.
We should be in marketing for Sony.
We can't do any worse than they're already doing.
It's true. Well, let's see if we can't make it worse because we still need to talk about the Horizon Zero Dawn movie, which is like the most inevitable thing that has ever happened. Because if you've played those games, they're extraordinarily cinematic. They play like a movie, more or less, not like Until Dawn in that sense, but more just like the visuals and the way the story is written out. But with this one, I guarantee you the twist of the world, not just like, hey, there's mechanical animals and it's weird. The twist of what, like why the world is the way it is going to be in the first trailer because Sony can't keep a secret.
Oh, no. But before we go into the movie, let's take a path. Let's take a quick journey into what happened to get us here. 3 years ago, Sony announced God of War was to be a TV show on Amazon Prime, and Horizon Zero Dawn was to be a TV show on Netflix.
I did not remember that. I remember the God of War show, which I remember after seeing these, I was like, it feels like God of War should be one of these things that they're announcing.
Yep, it's supposed to be MGM. And 3 months ago, Sony and Amazon announced that they would be restarting from ground zero their pitch for God of War because the person in charge of it left, quit, fired, who knows? They're gone. Now, the funny thing is, this was about 3 or 4 months after Netflix quietly canceled Horizon Zero Dawn because the person in charge of that was quit, fired, or whatever. So 3 years later, we do not have anything at all from this. But this is, I'm actually okay with the Horizon movie TV show being canceled because it was supposed to be a prequel. It was supposed to be the story of like Elizabeth Sobek and the downfall that leads to Horizon Zero Dawn. We don't need that. We get that in flashbacks.
Not interesting.
Yes.
That's not interesting enough for a full show. Watch Chernobyl if you want something good about the downfall of humanity.
Oh, speaking of which, any chance we can get Craig Mazin from doing Last of Us to swing over and just, help with the scripts?
I don't know that he can do that kind of fun, though.
Oh, that's so true. He's a dreary person. No offense to him. I mean, he's fantastic. But, okay, looking at it, Craig Mazin, he does do comedy, but I don't think it's the kind of comedy we like. He did Scary Movie 3 and 4. And then superhero movie.
So he's the guy in charge of the weird penis fingers from Scary Movie 4.
And then he wrote Hangover 2 and 3. How he pivots from that to Chernobyl, I have questions.
Maybe he wanted to be funny and realized he wasn't.
Maybe. Oh, because I remember reading an interview with him on The Hangover Part 2, and they asked, like, why was it so dark? And he's like, well, the first one's just funny. You got to start with something serious in the second one. So I start with cutting off one of the guy's fingers. It's like, holy crap, you're intense, man.
I think Robert Eggers got asked not that long ago. Either he was like, I think it was at the Nosferatu premiere. Someone was like, "Hey, are you ever going to venture out of your comfort zone?" He's like, "You don't want me writing a comedy. I have no sense of humor."
I mean, he's not wrong, because having watched The Northman, he tried to do comedy in some of those scenes, and it did not work. Having like Willem Dafoe compliment the farting of a wolf is not funny.
I mean, it's Willem Dafoe. He can make almost anything work. But yeah, that's it depends on the tone of the movie. But so I think we've knocked in Robert Eggers as the director of this film.
Yeah, he's locked in. He's gonna do it. So I do think that a Horizon movie could work. It is very cinematic. It is very beautiful. The story itself is kind of bare. It's more about the exploration of the worlds and the exploration of who Aloy is in the worlds. But by the way, Aloy and Roost are the first like two characters you're introduced to in an all metal robot world. That is not subtle.
So I think the biggest problem with the potential for this movie is, where does Sony go with like the visual style of this? Because the current visual trend is, let's make it almost like everything is foggy to kind of cover up the blemishes of the CGI. There is potential to make a Jurassic Park style movie like that out of this.
Yes.
But you need color, you need bright visuals to kind of help complement that. Is Sony going to allow that, especially with how poorly received Uncharted was? Uncharted was bad, but at least it had colors, especially towards the end of the movie. But I get the feeling that they're going to try and not paint this future dystopia that has weird robot giraffes and robot saber-toothed tigers and other things wandering around the landscape. I get the feeling they're going to try and cover up some of those things and just make it kind of like a weird, foggy, always covered, because they'll add like a nuclear dystopia to it where like the sun's been blotted out, but like we're getting to the end of the nuclear winter or whatever. And so like there's like little rays of sunshine that come through every now and then, but it's still gray all the time.
Right. Which doesn't work, because that they kind of play with that in the second one. Crap. What is the second one called? It's Horizon Forbidden Shores. Forbidden West?
Forbidden West.
And they kind of play with that. Why it's forbidden is because the creatures there are a little more wild. The ground's a little more dirty and the soil's more corrupted and chaotic. And that is part of the journey, is that she's restoring balance to the earth to allow the people to thrive out there. So, but the first one's not that at all. The first one's about her exploring outside of her little village because she's being sent away to figure out what's going on, and the exploration of herself. And you need those bright colors. I mean, that's part of the fun of it, is that like Aloy has this bright mop red hair and all the colorful outfits. I mean, that's part of it. Part of it is that she's collecting all the dyes for the face paints for the armor and all that stuff. And there's a joy to it when you first get your first horse. It's your first rideable beast. There's a joy to it. There's a fun. It is lovely to ride through those canyons. And yeah, you're right. There should be a bit of a Jurassic Park horror element to it, because I forget what the little raptors are called, but those are going to leap at you and kick you off of them. And then you have the thunder jaws.
Combies?
Yes. And then you have the thunder jaws, which are massive and terrifying. And you just enter near an area with them, and the music fades out, and you get that thunder jaw music that kicks in, that you're like, shit's about to get real, and the flying birds that come down and pluck you off. It should be a bright, colorful world that she's exploring that is new and wild and fascinating to her. One of my favorite things was about the first game was the expansion. I forget what it's called, but it's up in the north and it is a snowy territory. And the corruptions are these vibrant colors that splatter across the snow. And it is just gorgeous to play and watch and, walk through and experience. If you just turn that down into a Transformers orange. It's gonna be just gross.
Yeah, the poster for this one is almost definitely going to be that stereotypical blue to orange nonsense that they do.
Yeah.
You and I were talking, I think, with Justin about this. We already cast McKenna Grace in this role, just because they're obviously not going to go with a naturally red-haired person. They're going to just dye the hair either a very vibrant orange or like a brown with just a little tinge of red. They have a relationship with McKenna Grace from her Ghostbusters movies, and I think she's age appropriate for the role of Aloy. And I think she is a good enough actress to play the role. I just think that, again, Sony is going to just not understand the assignment. Like we said, it's pretty much something that's going to have to it would need to try and emulate Jurassic Park in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And this very well could be their Jurassic Park if they played it right. But it's Sony, and you can't trust them to play it right because they don't understand anything, and they don't understand what makes things good.
No, this could be one. You got to get an experienced, trusted director in there. Another person who could be appropriate is Sophia Lillis, probably best known as Bev from It, but she's also done good work in. I think Hansel and Gretel was a Netflix one, and she was in Dungeons and Dragons. Doric, the druid shapeshifter, she was really fun in that. She's like 22, 23. She could be really fun. But you have to get somebody who has that youthful exploration and carries a little bit of hurt. And I think we're right that McKenna Grace would be fantastic in it because she plays in the first Ghostbusters movie adorably dorky and fun. And in the second movie, even though it's been like 2 years later from the filming, she is matured and she has the hurt and resentment and baggage that she just wants to be part of the family. And that I think would really work well for the story of the Aloy, especially in the first film. Who do you want to try to direct this thing, man? I have no clue.
Legitimately, I would love to see Greta Gerwig get a shot at it. I think she has the script writing ability and the directing ability, obviously, to be able to tackle this. So I think this is an asshole thing for me to say, but knowing Sony and with them not doing it right, not that I think she's a bad director, but Chloe Zhao, who directed The Eternals, I think she could do something interesting with it, but I don't know that I think she should be at least the lead writer. She could have input and she can maybe get a co-writing credit, but I think like the script writing should be done by someone who has a familiarity with the project, with the product. It's like someone who has worked on it as a video game and is able to maybe adapt it into a screenplay. But I think Chloe Zhao at least has an eye for it because there's a lot of really cool stuff in Eternals. It's just over bloated with a lot of other things that maybe are not her problems. Like she got really good performances out of everyone. I mean, she was given an all-star cast to work with, so like not hard to get good performances out of those people. But overall, I think either Chloe Zhao or Greta Gerwig would be two really good choices for that movie.
Yeah, I would like to see Rihanna Pratchett take a pass at it. Maybe best known as Terry Pratchett, the author's daughter, but she has a very long writing career with video games. She wrote Heavenly Sword, which is a Sony property, but she probably is best known for doing the reboot of Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider. She didn't come back for the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which was the third one, which everyone believed story-wise and gameplay-wise was a bit of a downtrend. But Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider, she was the lead writer on those. She knows how to write an adventure, fun female character, and I think that she has she's worked with comics, she's worked with books and stuff like that. I would like to see if she could actually do an adaptation because she writes very cinematically. Can she wrest this thing into a structural story that Grace McKenna and Greta Gerwig could carry through and like be like, here's an overarching trilogy. Just nail the first movie, make it bright, make it fun, and add a little bit of Jurassic Park horror into there.
That could be the hook that like brings in Greta Gerwig, is because she's never really worked into something like that. She's always leaned more into the drama or the comedy.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that if you want to challenge a director, a noteworthy director like Greta Gerwig, that's how you do it, is you try to get them out of their comfort zone. You task them to do something like that. So the one thing we've been doing with these these discussions as well is, how will Sony miss the mark with this one? Like we've already talked about, they'll probably grayscale it to cover up some of the CGI patches. The other thing I can think of that would miss the mark for this is they would focus more on trying to uncover the mystery of the metal beasts and whatnot. Like they would try to give an origin story, or like a main detail as to like the bad guy of the movie is tied to these guys, and then it overarcs into her having to go out west. If I'm remembering, I never got to the end of the game, but if I'm remembering correctly, you're basically going after someone who is from like another tribe, who
Yep.
is kind of more or less on the same path as Aloy. Like they've kind of started peeling back the layers of the onion, but they have more malevolent means to uncover these things, because like they're utilizing the corruption to turn the beasts more feral, where Aloy is like trying to find a way to make humanity coexist with these things more than anything.
So the main character of the first one, who you believe is either helping or hindering to you, was played by Lance Reddick. May he rest in peace. His character Silence. And that role, they will so mess up because they will miscast whoever it is to make them very obvious that they're super evil until like a twist at the end. They will not allow, if Sony does their Sony thing of allowing you to explore to figure out, do you trust them or do you not trust them? What is this? Are they malevolently working against you, or are you just two people on a dual path and one of you is taking a little more extreme measures than the other? They won't allow for that. They're going to do some horrible twist on it, or they're going to screw it up completely and just have
Sony don't do nuance.
no, or they're just going to straight up do it where Silence is immediately, it's a buddy comedy with Silence and Aloy skipping down the primrose path together or something like that. They don't know how to do, they don't know how to do nuance, and that would be regretful in my opinion.
As much as like getting someone like Greta Gerwig, Chloe Zhao, or anyone like that to direct this is probably not going to happen, because much like adapting licensed IPs into video games, adapting video games into movies is very expensive, because you have to pay for the IP. That's a big part of your budget. And then you have to pay for the adaptation, and you have all the other rights that go towards like allowing writing credits and producer credits and everything else that goes along with that, because IPs and the retention of those IPs is important. So there's a lot of stuff that Sony just can't toe the line with, because they're just like, just get it done. We said it's coming out. We got to get it made. Just make it and we'll fix it in editing. Like we love ADR. Did you ever see how good of ADR we did in Madam Web? Which apparently, again, there's really bad ADR in the Craven movie too.
Yeah.
So Sony went all in on their ADR budget this last year.
One of the also things I think they'll screw up with each of these properties is they will forget to thank the studio that developed them. So there'll be like no
100%.
Thank you studio, Santa Monica or whatever,
or no, in association with they won't do that.
No, why would they?
You got a producer credit, man. What more do you want?
I will say, if we can't get Greta Gerwig, I would maybe trust Adam Wingard to do Horizon, because Godzilla Kong was very colorful and pretty.
That's not a bad take. That's, at least he can make a snappy action movie.
Exactly.
The plot will make no sense, but it will be pretty and fun in the action sequences.
You'll see in the background as Aloy is like running away, firing arrows and stuff. You'll see the Thunderjaw like battle royale happening, and at least it'll be entertaining. You'll forget it came out only 10 months ago, but you're like, oh yeah, did it make money? They're making a sequel. Yeah, they're making a sequel to that.
He knows how to do scale. I mean, that's one thing that I will definitely praise Godzilla versus Kong for, is the fact that they had a few of those shots where you had that ship go like through Godzilla's mouth or in front of Kong, and you're just like, okay, that's the size correlation to things, instead of just being like, I don't know how tall that building is, but they're both bigger than that building, so that must mean they're pretty big.
And you know what? I actually really did I still think about that every once in a while of Kong like trying to hold up the hands and you're like, dude, I just want to talk Godzilla.
You mean in reference to my finest work I've ever done with my Superman TikTok?
Yes. Yes.
Godzilla X Kong steals the Batman v Superman misunderstanding.
Yep. And I still do love that Momthra shows up and like, kids, stop fighting. It's like, okay, Mom.
Okay, Mom. Sorry, Mom. He was being a jerk. You're a jerk. No, you're a jerk.
Maybe we'll get that. But let's be honest, we're probably not. It's probably going to like end up like, I don't know.
They'll get Sean Levy to make the most generic thing ever, and it'll make $600 million, and Sean Levy will go and make Deadpool 4, Deadpool 3, whatever you'd want to call it.
And Vin Diesel will be Roost.
All right. Well, I think we've predicted the future pretty well here. The next thing we need to figure out is what the lottery numbers are, because that draw happens in about an hour.
Let's see. How good is my night going to be? How are the Steelers doing right now? 7-28 in the third quarter. We are doing exactly as expected. The one and done every year.
But at least their streak of 500 or better continues. I don't have much faith in the Packers. Ted Lasso has a quote in there that says it's the hope that kills you. I'm hopeful for a good outcome, but I don't expect it. I'll be happy if they are competitive, but that's one of those things in sports where it's like, if they're getting blown out, I can just like walk away and be like, okay, that's done. Mm-hmm. Whereas if they're in the game and you get your heart broken, is that worse? Where you're like, we were that close. And I was so invested that like, oh, maybe we can get there. Maybe we can get over that hill like the little engine that could. And then you can't. And then you're just like, oh, my heart.
Yep.
Like, which is better? In sports, it's neither really.
No.
The only good outcome is a win.
Which is exactly like, if for some reason the Helldivers 2, they hire like Paul Verhoeven, he's not retired. He's just like in his 80s. And it's like, oh, maybe they understand. Maybe there's hope for this movie, or it's like the adaptation of Horizon Zero Dawn is they have cast an age appropriate like Grace McKenna or Sophia Lillis. Like, oh, the hope starts to abound. But then with Sony, it's all the little things that start piling up on top of it. That's like,
all
but
the
still
leaks
give
that happen because they have no security around anything. So like all the production problems will start leaking. All the script changes will start leaking. And it's just like, yep, that's what we expected.
Yeah. And it's not going to be like the Ghostbusters movie where you have Dan Aykroyd playing offense to always give you hope that it's going to be good, which, by the way, Afterlife still gets me. I love it. The Frozen Empire is not very good.
It still blows my mind. We've talked about Godzilla X Kong and now Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It blows my mind that back-to-back weeks last March, a beach got frozen in two different movies.
Yep. They both had Empire in their name. The beach got frozen and there was a pink sky beam.
It's Dante's Peak and Volcano all over again.
Armageddon and
Deep Impact.
Deep Impact. Yeah, and let's not forget Frodo was in there. Right? What's Frodo was in?
Yeah, Deep Impact. That was Elijah Wood. But Alex, let's start getting out of here because I have to edit this thing tomorrow now. So let everyone know about the Discord where they can share all their pitches and what they think is going to happen with Sony going forward.
Listen, social media sucks. We have an account on almost all of them, but if you really want to talk to us, you really want us, to let you know about the random crap we find online, go to our Discord. The link is just below. And you know what? We're also not going to tell you about how terrible that the Until Dawn movie is going to be because they're doing a complete new origin story versus the game that they've remade twice now.
Until Dawn in name only, essentially, and they're bringing back the guy that played Lucifer in the Constantine movie to play the psychiatrist that like interludes the chapters. So yeah, please join our Discord. There's a link in our episode description. You can join in on the conversation. Matt's bad at his job and likes to hang out and chat all day. So keep him entertained as well. You can follow us on all the social media platforms. Like Alex mentioned, we're on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, Hive Social, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. And if you're listening on YouTube, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Email us your thoughts, questions, reviews. How do you think Sony's going to handle these adaptations. Let us know what your thoughts are at tsmackpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Leo Allen for musical themes, Beppo and Retro Oil Studios for our avatars. Please like, subscribe, rate, review on your podcatcher of choice, or if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you to Leo Allen again for the musical themes. Thank you for listening. Alex, thank you for being here. And most importantly, everyone, take care. Watch Star Trek.
Who loves T-Smack?
I love T-Smack. Is it true? Mm-hmm. I do. Ooh.